All right, so what we're going to talk about is page 6 because it was about presenting the information, presenting our data. And let me do this now. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at different ways your peers have represented the data. And what I would like for you to think about is what's some feedback you would give them? What's constructive feedback, things that you would do differently, and what are some things that they did well? So we're going to give them positive feedback. And what we're doing is we're looking at what's the best way to present data, because math is about using tools to solve problems, to solve different and figure out the best way to solve a situation. And that's why we use tools. That's why you take algebra, to learn the different tools to be able to solve problems. And we want to be able to solve the problem and be able to articulate our reasoning and explain our logic. And so that's why this one is so important, because we need to present the data and to back up our argument. So what I asked you to do was to present the data for the cost of Hulu and Netflix for 1 through 12 months. And so this is the first student work. So if you can see here, what's something that they did not do? Oh no, they did not do. They were supposed to present the data for 1 through 12 months. That means the first month, the second, the third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, 9, 10, 11, 12. But it looks like on here they just did the 12th month. So did they present the data? They did not. So that's something really important. If you are supposed to present the data, the numbers, the calculations, the values, then you need to do that. This one's kind of blurry, but I think you can see that they have their calculations here for Hulu and Netflix. Can you look at this, even though I know it's blurry, can you see the values, see exactly for 4 months, 9 months, what it costs? It's kind of hard to read, and it's not clearly organized where you can see Hulu and you can see Netflix. It's a little bit everywhere. Now, their calculations might be correct, and this is important to know that your calculations are correct. But when we present the data, we just want to know what was the final answer. And so here it's a little bit hard to read, not just because it's blurry, but because it's not organized. Here, a couple things you can see that they have their work. It's organized. You can see this side is Hulu and this side is Netflix. But if I were to try to look at it super quick, what's the 5th month for Hulu? What's the 5th month for Netflix? It would take me a little bit longer to. Oh, it's right here. Oh, and it's right there. So a couple other things. The math is not correct. But something that's important is I need to be able to look at it and quickly know the information that I am wanting to find from this data. And it takes me a little bit longer to do that. Here, they've separated very clearly Hulu, they separated Netflix. The data, the calculations are not correct, but a couple things. Here, they've written these numbers on the left. I hope you can see it. I might be able, yeah, I can use a pointer. They have these numbers right here on the left. It doesn't tell me what the numbers represent, okay? It has an M, and let me tell you something about letters in math. If you put a letter in math, you have to tell us what it stands for. This right here, do you know what symbol that is? That's the subtraction symbol. And even though here, I think what they're saying is for 1 month it costs $17, but in math, you cannot use this symbol to mean anything else than minus. That means minus, just like this right there. Let me see, is there another one? No. So anytime you have a math symbol like the 17, that means 17. It doesn't mean Hulu. That means 17. So when you use numbers, it means numbers. The symbol means that symbol. So that's something to keep in mind. Here, they've got a squiggly to divide the Hulu side, the Netflix side. But do you see how they wrote month every single time? Would there have been a more efficient, that means it would take less space to be able to write that these on the left are the numbers representing the representing here what they mean by month. And again, they use a dash, which means minus in math. And you don't have to put, again, they use the symbol for the money, and there's a different way we could have done that. Right here, they did the same thing. It was very redundant because they put month, month every single time, and there's a different way we could have done that. Here, again, these numbers mean something. And so, again, if you were use a letter in math, like H and N, you have to tell us what that represents. And that symbol already means something in math. It means minus. Same thing here. When you use the M, you have to tell us what that means. Now here, this person actually wrote that this number here meant months, but those are not the months. Months are August, September, October, November, December. So what they were referring to, these are numbers, so it should have been number of months. And instead of using the money sign, they could have put cost per cost of Hulu, cost for Netflix. And that way we know we're talking about money because these are values. That means that this number is attached to the one. This number here is also attached to the one. And they made one, you can see here, it looks like a T. Some of you call it a T chart, but it's a table.